If you've been around church long enough, you've probably heard the phrase unequally yoked. But my guess is you're like me. You've never actually had to farm or plow a field with oxen or use a yoke, anything like that. So what does that phrase mean when Paul uses it in the New Testament? It probably comes from Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 10, where it says, "Don't plow with an ox and a donkey together." Now, why would that be? Having the donkey with it is going to slow down and tire out the ox. The furrows are probably going to be crooked because that ox is pulling harder than the donkey, and if both animals have the same strength, then they can pull in a straight line and they'll work together well. But what does this phrase mean when we apply it to human relationships? What are the consequences of being unequally yoked? Joseph Clampett here with the Stewardship.com YouTube channel. Today's topic is one of the unexpected consequences of bad partnerships. The main passage here for this phrase unequally yoked is usually taken to be 2 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 14 through chapter 7 verse 1. There's a lot of material out there, I think, discussing this passage and going into detail about it. I really don't want to do that today. So when I was reading this, I just noticed something that I'd never seen before, and that's actually the context, the verse immediately before this passage and the verse immediately after. So let's talk about those. "We have spoken freely to you, Corinthians. Our heart is wide open. You are not restricted by us, but you are restricted in your own affections. In return, I speak as to children, widen your hearts also." So that's right before. Now let's go right after. He says, "Make room in your hearts for us. We have wronged no one. We have corrupted no one. We have taken advantage of no one. I do not say this to condemn you, for I said before that you are in our hearts, to die together and to live together." In both places, Paul is talking about the hearts of the Corinthians. He uses words like, heart over and over again. You're restricted in your affections. He says, referring to himself, that, his heart and his co-workers' hearts are wide open to them. So kind of why are they not reciprocating with that? They were following people who were kind of almost restricting the other relationships or the other teaching they could have, like from Paul, for example. The problem with bad partnerships is that they can drive out the good ones. I think we've all had some kind of situation where we're partnered with someone, either, it could be an employer, it could be somebody that we ourselves employ, or it could be, some other coworker where there's really not a fitting, there's not really a meshing or a unity in terms of even basic moral truths. If you're partnering with someone who thinks lying is not a problem, even if that person is the absolute most skilled at what they do, they're absolutely the best, they can solve any problem, they have the knowledge, the skills, but they don't have the same moral values as we do, it's very hard to work with someone like that. I think it's going to work out badly in the long run if you can't trust that person. If you don't have the same unity, if you're not pulling in the same direction, back to the ox yoked together, they're pulling in the same direction so that they can make straight furrows in the field. So imagine that one ox wants to go left, the other one wants to go right. Or one ox wants to go straight, the other one wants to pull right. Well, the one who wants to go straight is going to have to constantly resist the pulling of his partner as he tries to go in a different direction because he has a different vision and a different end goal. But if the two, if they're united in their vision and in their basic moral values, they can pull in the same direction. Not to say that there won't be challenges and disagreements, because there definitely are. Obviously Christians have disagreements with other Christians all the time, but they have sort of a fundamental basis for working those things out. they follow the same God, they have the same standard of morality, the same standard of truth. If you do have some degree of control, maybe you're, an independent contractor of some kind, or you're running your own business and choosing who to employ or who to work with, it's wise to do some degree of vetting of what's the character of the people I'm hiring? Are they trustworthy? And those kind of questions are the most important. Technical skills are much easier to learn on the job than, actual changes to someone's character. When we partner with someone who can truly share our load, suddenly everything gets easier. Our heavy burdens get lighter. Their strengths can complement our strengths, and we'll have full confidence that they will continue to pull with us until the job is done. For another Old Testament example of the kind of thing Paul is talking about, watch this video on how the good King Jehoshaphat made lots of disastrous partnerships with the evil King Ahab. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you learned something from this video, and we'll see you in the next one.